and welcome to a new vlog and trip report. And today we're taking a regional train in France. We are going from Strasbourg to Sarreguemines, and here on the map you can see our route today. We're starting at the main station of Strasbourg and now we're heading for Sarreguemines, going through the Northern Vosges mountains, a very beautiful part of the Alsace region. Here we can see the very impressive station building of Strasbourg, with the new part built around the old building, so they could keep the old building but still have a larger space inside. That's a very nice architecture, and I really like this station. Here you can see my train today, which is an Alstom Coradia Polyvalent, also called Régiolis. It's exactly a train of the type B83500, so it's which is a bi-mode train in a suburban version, so it can operate in an electric way and in a diesel electric way. And there are many other versions of this train. We're gonna now take a look at the interior of this type of train in the region Grand Est, former Alsace region. As you can see, we have a quite good seat pitch for trains in France. Seats are rather soft compared to trains in other countries. They're quite comfortable, but compared to older trains in France, they are pretty hard, so less comfortable than older trains in France, but they have a good interior with power sockets and big tables, and as I said, a quite good seat pitch. But now it's time to listen to the sound of them.
Bonjour, la région Grand Est SNCF vous souhaite la bienvenue à bord de ce TE à destination de Sarreguemines.
We are now leaving the station of Strasbourg, heading for Sarreguemines. Until Momenheim we are using the railway line to Paris, and today we're traveling on the whole length of the line until Sarreguemines. In the future the trains will almost all go on to Saarbrücken in Germany. When I was traveling here, the Alstom Coradia Polyvalent or Régiolis was only operating in France, and on the line to Germany they were still using the older Alstom Coradia Attribution. But in the very near future, almost all trains connecting the region Grand Est and Germany will be operated by this type of train. And then there will be a train between Saarbrücken and Strasbourg every 2 hours. Here on the left we just saw the connection onto the high-speed line to Paris. We are continuing now on the old line to Paris, and here we are reaching the station of Momenheim. Here we are leaving the railway line and continue on the railway line Momenheim-Sarreguemines. This railway line is not electrified. The railway line to Paris is electrified, and that's why we're using the bi-mode train, which is perfect for a railway line like this. Now we're using the diesel electric engine on our way to Sarreguemines. There are 2 tracks on almost the whole length of the line, just except for one short part, which is the tunnel, the Buswiller, 540 meter long tunnel, which only has 1 track. And here we are reaching this tunnel, and straight after it we are back with 2 tracks. There are quite a few stations in between, but most of them are not in use anymore. And there are also a lot of connecting lines and branch lines, but also a lot of them are not in use anymore. Actually, there is no railway line in use that you could change onto in between of Momenheim and Sarreguemines. Here you can see a train coming from Saarbrücken, still with the old Alstom Coradia Attribution. Those are also very nice trains, but they are a bit small for this railway line, as there's a quite high demand for trains between Saarbrücken and Strasbourg, because it's the fastest way to get to the south from Saarbrücken, also to destinations in Germany. It's quite convenient to take a train from Saarbrücken to Strasbourg, for example, if you want to go to Freiburg or other cities in southern Germany. We are now crossing the Northern Vosges mountains. They are not as high as the main part of the Vosges mountains. Here we have a height of the mountains of about 300 to 400 meters, but still it's a pretty beautiful landscape. Former connecting railways were available, for example in Obermodern. There you had the connection on to Steinburg and Haguenau. There was a very small connecting line from Vingens-sur-Moder, which is the city in the middle of the Northern Vosges mountains, onto Saint-Louis-le-Beach. After this station, which we are reaching here, this is the station of Vingens-sur-Moder, we are also getting closer to the longest tunnel on the line, which is the Tunnel de Puberg, which is more than 1.6 kilometers long. Here we are now driving past the station of Puberg, as I said, not in use anymore like many other stops. Next important stop, which used to have a connection, was Diemeringen. There you had a connection onto Reding, but it's also not in use anymore. After that we are approaching the station of Oermingen and Karlhausen, and there you had the connection on to Sarreguemines. Also not in use anymore. So as you can see, quite a lot of railway lines in France have been closed, unfortunately. Also railway lines that are still in use often only see a couple of trains per day, so that's the downside of traveling by train in France. Of course there are a lot of strikes and a lot of railway lines only see a handful of trains every day. That makes it a bit difficult if you want to see a specific railway line, but this one here is quite easy because in the future we'll see a train every 2 hours. We're now getting closer to Sarreguemines, and we're now close to the river Saar, and we are crossing this river 3 times until we reach Sarreguemines. And Sarreguemines is the final stop of the train today. As I said, in the future trains will go on to Saarbrücken. But there's also a connection onto Saarbrücken from Sarreguemines for me now, and that will be the topic of the next video. Other connections from Sarreguemines are trains on to Benin and on to Metz, but that is one of those railway lines that only see a handful of trains every day, but I still hope to be able to make a video about that in the future. And there used to be a connection onto Zweibrücken in Germany. There used to be a connection through the Northern Vosges mountains, a bit more northern than our railway line, onto Haguenau, and there also used to be a connection to Sarreguemines. So as you can see, there were a lot of railway lines here in and around Sarreguemines. Used to be a very important station for changing trains into all directions, but nowadays it's not as important anymore. Nowadays you have the connection on to Saarbrücken, to Benin, and you have a connection to the so-called Saarbahn, the Saar Railway, which is a tram train system that we will take a look at in the next upcoming video. Here we are crossing under a street, and after that we have a railway bridge that was used by the trains coming from Zweibrücken and Haguenau, but unfortunately it is not in use anymore. Here we are approaching the station of Sarreguemines. Only connection that was available for me here was the Saarbahn to Saarbrücken, and as I said, this will be the topic of the next video. And here we can take another look of my train. As you can see, at some cars it has 2 doors, and that's the difference between the suburban and the regional version of this train. It's just the amount of doors. Here we are at the station. Here we can take a look at Sarreguemines and the station building. And that means that this is it for this video. I hope it was interesting for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Here you can see when the next video will be uploaded and the name of the song. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link. And I hope to see you in my next video then.